Call your daddy. Leave a voicemail.
Ooh.
wiseandnerdy.com/call dad.
And our wayward son, Devocite, who has you can either be the Council of Dads or the Kiddos, and that's going to be the levels on Patreon. We'll get it. You're a kiddo or you're a Council of Dads. Devocite has been on both, but right now he's the kiddo who is working for a living. Dad, and I'm busy, and I got a social life, and I'll get to you when I get to you. He's gotten to us, and we love him for it. Here we go.
I just want to give a big congrats on picking up ChatCon. I hope it's going well, or did go well. I'm not sure when you'll pick up the speak pipe, but I'm going to go back to a earlier conversation about comfort food. And Joe, you mentioned chimichanga, frozen chimichanga, and
Sure did.
I really agree with you.
What?
Now, about a year ago, I have a little twist on it. My shop has a wood burning stove, and I can insert an iron grill right inside the front of the door there.
I'm liking this. I like where it's going.
Chimichanga on that little iron grill, and it cooks, and it is absolutely delicious.
Oh,
Smoke,
yeah.
the flavor. I don't know. It's just something about a wood oven that just makes things so delicious. And my son loves them. I love them. My wife thinks kind of crazy for it. I don't care. But yeah, man, that is wood fire baked chimichanga.
All right.
Can't recommend it enough.
All right. So with going kind of throwing back to that conversation, it does matter how you bring something to heat, right? So, but Joe, I do not imagine you use a wood fire stove for your frozen burrito. You probably throw it in the microwave. Yeah, and you have it nuclear hot on the outside and a thin bar of ice on the inside.
Nope. Nuclear hot all around with cheese and sour cream and Cholula on it.
Okay, good choice in hot sauces, but still doesn't forgive your bad taste.
Real quick follow-up on my last comment about comfort food. So I know, Charles, you weren't there, so I'd be kind of curious what your comfort food is. And more so, a conversation a coworker and I had, what kind of food do you cook for yourself at home when the family is gone, or even especially for long durations? For example, Dave and I, curiously enough, discovered that we both like sauerkraut. And when you cook sauerkraut, it can be pretty overpowering smell, but we love sauerkraut. So that is one of the things that he and I discover we both do. If the family's away visiting, I'll whip up a batch of sauerkraut. Otherwise, the family, it is banned from the house.
Yeah.
So kind of curious what your take on that type of situation is. See you guys.
Making sauerkraut is like sticking fish in the microwave at work. Everyone has
popcorn.
Everyone has to participate.
Yeah, it's just it's the worst. I will think about my, because I want to drag this segment out. I'll think about my answer on the comfort foods. I can cook. I have definitely done well at cooking in the past, but I find that
he prefers to have his son cook for him.
I do actually. Yeah, I do I prefer my son. I prefer a good meal out somewhere. I like a good food experience. I just don't typically want to put the effort in. So like if the family's out, it's sandwiches or whatever's in the freezer or the fridge. But on the surface, my comfort food is a bourbon and the Lord's lettuce. So you take that for what you will.
So the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile is hiring.
Whoa, we went from comfort foods to Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. What the heck?
But my wife actually showed me that they were hiring.
Oh, Phil's looking for a job. We need to hit Phil up.
So the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile is hiring. The first person I thought of after reading about it was Charles.
Why?
Because the puns are atrocious. They're funny, but they're atrocious. Things like the person who rides in the passenger seat, they're running shot bun.
Oh no.
The sunroof is called the bun roof. And the most cringy one I heard was before going anywhere, you put on your meat belt. But yeah, I thought, man, this is a position not for Charles.
Not in a million years.
I don't know. Charles would have a lot of bun with that job.
Oh God, I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
You'd be running around saying, "I like big buns and I cannot lie."
I hate. Okay, maybe that one. Comfort food. I thought about it. Honestly, Taco Bell. Taco Bell is my comfort food.
Okay.
If I really, if I'm like, man, I just really need something, or I just want to eat, guys, because comfort food, I guess, is to bring you happiness or joy, or to pick up your spirits and that kind of thing. Man, I love just anything that's cheesy and meaty and good, and usually I get like a burrito supreme or a beef burrito, like the cheesy gordita crunch. I love it's when I'm really like, man, I want something different. I want something good, or just once a week. If it's a Thursday, I want Taco Bell. So yeah, that's I think that'd probably be my comfort food. Oh, we've got two more.
One of your Patreon editions, you were talking about how Spotify wanted you to have so many listenership within
Sure
a
did.
6-month period. And I find that, I have Spotify, and that's actually how I listened to you guys originally. And once I got on with the Patreon, I really do enjoy the extended, kind of unedited,
Cool.
open discussion that you guys have in the Patreon, which of course has a lot of content before and after the show. So if I'm going to say anything about how to listen to you guys, the Patreon is definitely, and on the Patreon app, is the best way to listen to you guys. And it's worth every, an extra few dollars to do that. And I do appreciate you guys having the Patreon edition and that extra content above and beyond the Spotify. But unfortunately, I'm not going to listen to Spotify now. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg, right? Which do you do? What comes first? Which is better?
Well, I did.
I don't know. But Patreon for me is the best way to listen to you guys. Well done.
Okay, we're gonna leave that button on every week and just play. Oh wait, we got another call from Devocite. What did he say? What did
One of your Patreon editions.
Oh yeah,
you were talking about how Spotify wanted you to
__ nerdy. I know, perfect. I mean, honestly, thank you for telling. I knew a few people listen, but I can't quite tell who. And they get long. I mean, those episodes sometimes are 2.5 hours long because we'll do 20 to 30 minutes ahead. But sometimes Joe and me and whoever's on, Kurt or whoever's on, we'll talk, we'll get into something, right? And we'll just keep going. And it is absolutely unedited. And so you get that full experience there. So thank you for feeding back on that. And thank you for telling everybody, come to patreon.com because that really is about it. Yeah. There are two ways you can really support the show financially. One is to listen to Spotify, because that's the only way we're going to get ads right now. Well, I guess there's three. So there's Spotify, right? Of course, Patreon. And I'm glad you changed it to a few bucks and not pennies. But I mean, the reality is you get to set how much you limit your donations to in Patreon. And I think anything on Patreon gets you the RSS feed. So it could be pennies, but we really, really enjoy. You like hearing what I talked about myself. Thank you for that too. Because there's times when I'm on and just not, and I'll just start talking to myself and putting it out there. And then the third way. So there's Spotify for free, right? That building that audience there will help get some ads, and we appreciate that. Patreon is a direct donation. We absolutely appreciate that. It helps with offset some things like when we went to Chattacon. All said and done, I think Chattacon cost $70 out of pocket because we did parking a few days and we went to a small dinner after our panel, and that was really it. And your donations absolutely help us with that.
For you to come up, but yeah.
Well, actually, my company pays for all my gas, so
there you go.
The Patreon didn't even touch that. So really, your stuff helps us out. The third way you can help is spread the word. Tell your friends, listen to the show. Here, let me play it for you. Now go subscribe to it, because the more that we can get the word out there, the more conferences we can do. We picked up possibly 3 or 4 or even 5 new listeners just by going to Chattacon. Really had a great time engaging with all the audience and playing with them. We made some new stickers.
We need to share that visual with people.
Yeah. There you go. That's on
Bam.
the screen now. And you know what? Email us wnnShow@gmail.com and with your mailing address, and we'll try to. And I'm possibly the world's worst on following up with these things, but we'll try to drop a couple of stickers in an envelope and mail them to you, so you can give them to people, look at them yourself, have one for yourself. We'll talk about that nerding out. We'll talk about how TireCon went for sure, and yeah, just spread the word. We love being the Council of Dads. We love being the Fatherhood meets Fandom. It's really resonated here in the chat room. It resonated at the conference. It's really picking up this year. So absolutely, and thanks for that feedback. And Random Kid says Charles seems like he's really good at talking to himself. Yeah, it's called podcasting, baby, and I am effing great at it. Effing is fantastic, right, Joe? I'm fantastically great at it. And I literally started my podcasting career this August. It'll be 20 years, by the way, officially.
Yep.
20 years in August. I started it almost 20 years ago, staring at a wall, telling my story. So yeah, I'm pretty good at answering the voices in my head, and I really appreciate that. All right, one more from Debo.
As I'm progressing through the podcast, doing the catch-up thing, came across Charles's fascination with fever dreams. I get where he's coming from on that too. I've played these games in the past where I've spent hours on them and gone to bed, and all my brain wants to do is think about this
Yeah.
game, and
Yeah.
you don't get very good sleep either. But particular, I think if I think of a fever dream, there's only one particular dream that I can even remember overall that comes to mind in my life is when I was in high school. I had a dream. I was on a B-52 bomber, like World War II, and it's up in the sky. It's dark, and there's something going on. It's like it's like sort of a undead crew kind of thing, and I'm trying and struggling to survive this, and I wake up drenched. I mean, just drenched head to toe, and just freaking out. I haven't had many of those, and thinking back, I think it may have been about the time when, so that would have been the early 80s, and that would have been
During your Coke
I
habit?
think Spielberg was doing The Amazing Stories or something like that, or
Yep.
it was something like that. I think there was something kind of a similar thing on it, so I may have manifest that in my dream, but I can't be for sure. All I just remember is, man, I was drenched, and it sucked. But fever dreams, they're no good, man.
You know what? That's a yeah. Thank you, Devo. But that's Joe. That's a thing we should put in for the question of the week. Is what's the one dream that you've always remembered that you had? It just really, really stuck with you.
I don't think people want to hear about mine all over again.
Well, you're so boring. You only have one, but that's all right.